Hello.
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 You're tuned in to XA Live with Texas Tech Chi Alpha. Be sure to use the comments to react to the sermon, ask a question, or just interact with one another. Thank you for choosing to spend this time with us, and we are so excited that you're here.
What's up, everyone? It's summertime, and this is Texas Tech Chi Alpha Live. We're super excited to be with y'all again tonight. We took last week off to allow us to help serve at West Texas AG's district celebration, and the district is extremely grateful for all the hard work Chi Alpha put in, and we're extremely grateful for everybody showing up and being willing and able to do anything and everything the church asked and the district asked for us to help with. But we're back tonight. Tonight we get to hear from some of our friends sharing about the latest video they watched in LTC GO, which for those of you that don't know what LTC GO is our leadership training class, online version kind of born out of National Chi Alpha's response to the coronavirus and everything that's going on currently. It's super awesome. We've taken the best of the best, or they've taken the best of the best that we have to offer for all the topics and all the points we hit during our leadership training class, typically during a semester, and put it on our online format that's accessible not only nationally but globally, just to help bring common language across oncoming campuses. At Texas Tech Chi Alpha, all our small group leaders, all our staff, everybody, we're working through it again. And tonight we get to hear from some of our friends discussing lesson 4. And at the end of it, please be sure to start submitting your t-shirt designs for the t-shirt design contest for next year's Texas Tech Chi Alpha t-shirt. We have a few in. Once we get a couple more, we'll open up an online gallery for voting and all that in some way or another. We'll let y'all know, and we'll actually vote on this year's t-shirts. We'll give y'all 2 more weeks, but please get those in. We're super excited to see what next year's shirt's going to look like. But yeah, stay tuned to hear from some of our friends discussing lesson 4 of LTC GO.
Greetings from my living room. I am here with Josh and Aaron. Aaron is going to be an intern this fall. I'm a return, and Josh is going to finish school. Way to go.
Yeah.
We are here to talk about the most recent LTC GO lesson that we just went over, and it was by one of our heroes in faith, Dick Brogden, and he spoke some fire, like he does pretty much anytime he opens his mouth, and it was over the concept of abide, apostle, and abandon. And yeah, we'll be talking about that a little bit, but first I wanted our friends to share a little bit more about themselves. So Aaron, how long have you been in Chi Alpha, small group leading, and what's your favorite book?
Okay, I've been in Chi Alpha for 6 years, and I've been a small group leader for 4 years, so a long time, but I feel like I'm still brand new. And my favorite book,
Or one of your favorites?
Yeah,
if
one
it's
of my
too hard
favorites.
to narrow down.
Well, my favorite author is Anne Voskamp, and I really like her book, The Broken Way. From the title, you can tell it talks about brokenness, and yeah, just really how that's how the kingdom is won, through reconciling brokenness. So,
That's really cool. I also really love Anne Voskamp. She's wonderful.
yeah, she's great.
Oh man. Okay, Josh. How long have you been a part of Chi Alpha? How long have you been a small group leader? What's your favorite book in the Bible?
Ooh.
Or one of your favorite books in the Bible?
One of my favorite books.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've been in Chi Alpha for 3 years, and I've been small group lead for 2. That's all for that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And my favorite book in the Bible. Can I do one for the Old Testament, one for the New Testament?
Let's do it.
Cool. I really like Isaiah for the Old Testament, just because of like in the New Testament, you see Jesus quoting Isaiah so many times, and he says it is written in Isaiah and stuff like that. So going back and reading Isaiah and seeing those prophecies being told for the first time was super dope and like really encouraging my faith in the Bible, and also in just like my day-to-day spiritual life, because it legitimizes what Jesus did for it, who Jesus was in my eyes. And New Testament, I'd probably it's a toss up between First Corinthians and James, but those two books are really dope just because it goes into like specifics of what Christians are supposed to look like, especially back in their day when their faith was really young, and it just like paved the way for us, and it's like a lot of wisdom by Paul.
Yeah.
Which is so dope.
So dope. Cool. So let's get started on this LTC lesson. So
Are we rolling?
yeah, we're rolling.
Oh, okay, sorry.
We're rolling. Okay. Let's all give a little synopsis of what this lesson was over, like what you got from it. For me, it was honestly just a really convicting message of go and do, not just sit and like retain, but like actually do the things that you're reading about and do the things that you're preaching or talking about. Dick was very like, if you're not doing these things, you're being a hypocrite to what you're saying. And there's so many times where I can agree, I can post on social media, I can even write in my newsletters like, this is what we should be doing and this is so good, but probably 8 out of 10 times am I actually doing those things? Probably not. And it was really convicting to say like our words and our actions actually matter, but to get things done for the kingdom, we need to be action takers. So, what about you?
Yeah, something he said a couple times was he was talking about the simplicity of Jesus and how do we just live in the simplicity of Jesus.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. He was talking about abiding and how everything flows from extravagant time with Jesus. And I thought that was really good and really like anytime, that I'm not understanding something, that's usually what's wrong, is that I'm not spending enough time with Jesus. And it made me think of last summer I read The Christ of the Indian Road by E. Stanley Jones. And it talks about E. Stanley Jones's time in India, and the whole book is about taking Jesus to people, not just like what we as Americans know as religion, but Jesus himself. So I thought that was really good in his message.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
That's awesome.
I felt like his root statement for that sermon was the simplicity of Jesus. Just because like that's what everything flows from, and it's so cool because he was just talking in front of like a bunch of like AG officials and pastors and stuff like that, and the message was like very hard on them to hear. I can imagine, but it's like so true because like so often I feel like we're doing this whole church thing. And we get caught up in the technicalities of like how it should be run, that we forget the simplicity of Jesus, which is that we must abide in Him first, and every decision that we make needs to flow through Him. And instead of another message that I got from him is that the church is getting it in its own way, where it was created to spread the gospel, but we're getting lazy. And we're building up the church here and building up other churches around the nation, but just the churches. Yeah. And we're growing for a love for the church, but as a building, as 4 walls, but not the mission of the church. I guess.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, cool.
Cool. So, y'all both mentioned that the simplicity of Jesus stood out to you in Dick's message. So how do you retain the simplicity of Jesus? How do you personally do it? How can you do it better? What do we do to retain the simplicity of Jesus?
Alright. So first, and probably the obvious answer is abiding. You have to spend time with Him, and that's literally it. Like simplicity is so simple. Is that you spend time with Jesus, and with that you see a lot of things that you're wanting to do to to advance the kingdom becomes so much easier and so much more convenient because it's out like the outflow of you spending time with Jesus, and chasing like these things that are good but aren't rooted with the abiding time, that the extravagant time that you spend with Jesus is wrong. And yeah, with Jesus, it's a lot more easier and convenient. That's what I'm trying to say. And it makes everything simple.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, that was good. That was good. Anything to add to that?
Yeah. Something Josh said earlier, he talked about the church getting in its own way. And so I think the way I personally could do better at just being with Jesus and like having that simplicity is just by listening. I think so often I'm like in my own head trying to think of like what things mean when I could just really like take it for what it is and really just sit there with Jesus and wait on him. Especially like the culture today is just so go, go, go. But it's so important to make time to really just like rest with him daily. Like even if it is like small moments, like maybe we really only have 10-15 minutes like in increments throughout the day, but that like we need to prioritize that time. So
That's really cool. Okay, so in the video Dick talks about how the church gets in its own way and that the American church specifically gets in its own way, but churches all over the world have suffering and hardships to build because it's not just building buildings, it's building the faith, it's building courage, it's building community, family, a deeper faith in the Lord. And we don't really come face to face with that here in America. We have a lot of privilege and freedom and opportunities that other believers don't. So our suffering may look a little different, and we definitely see that on campus. We don't really have favor. We don't have, numbers don't matter, but we don't have the largest group on campus. We have friends walk away from us, but also walk away from Jesus. So how can we allow those things to help build our community? Not as a Chi Alpha, not as an organization, but as a body of believers and a family.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing with that, no matter what kind of suffering, and like you said, in America, we really have it easier than most places. I think the biggest thing is that it will build our faith and trust in Jesus. That when people walk away, when maybe the campus turns us away or things like that, that's an opportunity for us to really press in and really ask Jesus to come through for his kingdom, and believe that we'll see it. I've also been thinking a lot lately, this is like kind of a tangent, but whatever.
I'm ready.
About American suffering and how it really doesn't look like the suffering of the church and the rest of the world.
So Ronald has very kindly attached the link. If you haven't watched this video, you should. It was so encouraging to start my week off like that, and yeah, it was really good and gave me a lot to think about, and obviously our friends have a lot to think about too. Do y'all have anything else that you want to add or share?
Please like and subscribe.
Oh God.
Don't forget to press the notification button, the little bell, so you know the next video. And that's it.
On that note, see you next week.
Okay, bye.
Thank you for watching XA Live. We hope you enjoyed this message and be sure to tune in at the same time next week.